Hi, I'm Chef Gail Sokol and welcome to my kitchen. Well, it's almost Halloween. We're getting close and I love Halloween. And I thought it might be fun to make sort of a candy slash cookie that we can decorate almost anything. Ghost meringues. Super, super easy and only take a few minutes of hands-on and then it's hands-off in the oven. Literally easy, super easy peasy. So get the kids and you're not gonna wanna miss this one. But before we get started, I'd like you to click that notification button. I'd like you to become a subscriber so you don't miss any of my beautiful videos and tips because they're pretty good. I'm a teacher, I love imparting knowledge, and I love coming into your kitchens, and I love you coming into mine. So, let's get started. You need an electric mixer. You can also do it with a whisk if you want to, but we're basically creating a common meringue. That's just an uncooked meringue, and we're gonna bake it in the oven. So the first thing I've done is preheated my oven to 225 degrees, not 325, 225. Because these are basically going to be dried out. We're drying out our ghosts until they literally are crunchy and they're delicious. So in the bowl of an electric mixer, and it must be clean and dry and grease-free. So if you just used it for a cake batter, make sure you've really cleaned it out because your meringue will not beat up to its fullest volume, all right? 4 egg whites, no yolk in them, and be sure that they are warm or left at room temperature for about an hour. All right, so I put those in my electric mixer. I'm gonna put them on the motor, and I'm going to get my whip attachment. We don't want the paddle, we don't want the dough hook, we want the whip. We want to beat them, okay, so that they can increase in volume. We're going to add a lot of air into them. So once we get this on, we're going to beat these at high speed, warp speed, just until they get foamy. Once they're foamy, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of cream of tartar. Now, cream of tartar is a byproduct of the wine industry, believe it or not. And we're going to add that to make them much more sturdy. It doesn't make them more voluminous, but it gets them a little more sturdy and structured. All right, so I'm foaming. I'm adding my cream of tartar. Next, in the wings, I have 1 cup of granulated sugar. And we're going to be adding this very, very slowly. Some chefs like to put in about a tablespoon every 30 seconds. Sometimes I go a little faster than that, but you want to get the highest volume possible. So once I'm turning this down because I want you to see, even with that, if I had left this alone and didn't add the sugar, these egg whites, you can see them already, they're getting really sort of structured. We've beaten air into them, and beating denatures the protein. It actually breaks the protein down, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to make volume, but we want it creamy. We don't want it dry like soap suds. So the sugar will help with that because the sugar crystals actually interfere with the egg whites getting too close together and clumping and getting that almost like soap suddy type texture. So again, warp speed, about a tablespoon of sugar at a time. Give it a few seconds. Right now I'm on almost warp speed, so I'm on a little higher than medium. And I'm going to add another tablespoon. And I'm going to keep adding about half of this sugar. Once I have half, I'm going to add a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. All right, so I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to go a little faster because you're here and we want to get going. But I would like you to do this slowly. Let all those sugary crystals get in there. I'm not half yet. When I get to about half, and then I'm going to scrape down the sides of the bowl before I add my vanilla extract. And I am going a little faster. And my egg whites look smoother. They don't look as soapy, soap sudsy, like bubbly. Let me show you that real fast in between. And you see how much they've grown? Oh, baby, they have grown. They are big and voluminous. So at this point, I'm going to add my vanilla. Just pour it in there, 1 teaspoon. Make sure it's pure vanilla extract because you don't want an artificial flavor. Going to beat that up. Beat that so it's incorporated. And then we're going to add the remainder of our sugar, about a tablespoon at a time. I'm almost there. And I said I was going to scrape down the sides. So let me scrape down the sides when our vanilla was in and I didn't do it. Because there can be some, and you can do it at any point, but there can be some little granules of sugar. But this is beautiful. This is growing nicely. We want it to be pipeable. Pipeable, that we can actually put it through a pastry blender and pipe out our ghosts. And we want them to be tall and sort of poofy, sort of like a pulled out chocolate kiss. You know when you buy like a chocolate kiss? All right. So those are all in there. I'm going to let this go for about 5 or 6 minutes. All right. In the meantime, I have lined 2 parchment paper on a large sheet pan with sides. This should make either 24 large ghosts, or you can make small ones. You can make a combination of large and small. And they're not going to look like ghosts right away because we don't put the eyes and the mouths on until they get out of the oven. Now, the oven, it's going to take 2 hours on 225 degrees Fahrenheit. It's already preheated. You want 2 racks, and you want to put your ghosts in there and let them dry out. No peeking, for 2 hours. So just if you're going to go out, just leave it on. And they're just going to dry out and sort of firm up. Now, after 2 hours, sometimes I leave them for an extra hour with the oven propped open with a wooden spoon. If you don't want to do that and they're firm enough, you can take them out. But I like to dry them out really, really well. So once I have that, I have a pastry bag that I fitted with a giant, you're getting noisy, you ghosts, giant plain tip. If you don't have one, just get a freezer bag and cut the side off, and you got yourself a nice piping bag. All right, I hear you. My ghosts are calling. I apologize. So I think that they are ready because, wait till you see this. Wait till you see this. These are ghosts that really want to be made. So you can tell, you see this meringue? Is this a meringue or what? Okay, I mean, this is a common meringue. So what we're going to do is I'm going to try to get as much off the whip as I can. And I don't want to get my fingers dirty right now. Normally I would just use my fingers. But this, and it's still raw egg whites. So once we put it in the oven, the 225 will dry them out and bake them a bit. All right. So I'll get that later. All right. So now I'm going to fill. Just take a rubber spatula. See, I got that. Look at this. Woo! That is stiff peaks, baby. And that's what you want. You want it so stable, it's not going anywhere. So this is what, because we want ghosts that stand up nice and tall. So you see that? That's what we want. So stuff it in. Do not overfill your pastry bag or your freezer bag, whatever you're using. Get the kids involved. This is a fun Halloween thing to do. Although I'm a grown-up and I don't have little kids anymore, I like doing it myself. I love Halloween. Love, love, love it. So I'm only filling it up halfway. And then I'm going to push down. Make sure you can actually push the top down because you don't want the meringue coming out the wrong way. And now the biggest thing to do is take your parchment paper off, and on each corner just do a little blip. See that? It's like a little blip. In each corner, put the parchment paper back over it. What this does is, as you're piping, it will actually keep the parchment paper down. So make sure it's flat. And now we're ready for ghosts. And we don't put the mouths or the eyes on yet. This has to happen after they're baked. So watch, I'm going to start here. I'm going to try to make them as big. And then at the end, pull. Okay? If they fall over a little, that's going to be a ghost that's a little bit sleepy maybe. All right? So whatever you get, and if whatever you get, you can also build like this. Okay? And then just let go. So you want to get that little point. Ghosts have a little point. Make some big. Make some little. Baby ghosts, big ghosts, mommy ghosts. You can make a big fat ghost. Ooh, big fat ghost. You see that? That was a big one. So you can make as many or as few as you want. You don't have to worry about them getting too close to each other. They're not going to spread. They do crack a little as they're baking. You want to prevent that as much as possible, but it does happen. And that adds character as far as I'm concerned. What is a ghost without character, right? So we're just going to keep popping. And these are good. You could decorate, once you decorate these with the eyes and the mouth, you could put these on cookie, you could put them on frosting on a cake, you could put them on anything. And I am going to be decorating a lot of things with these. Woo! And I have a video coming up, and you're going to enjoy how I use my ghosts very decoratively. So I'm going to keep piping. I'm going to make little ghosts, big ghosts, family ghosts, grandpa and grandma ghosts, and mommy and daddy ghosts, even a ghost dog, maybe if I can, I don't know. And I'm going to put them in the oven. You don't do anything else to them at 225 degrees Fahrenheit. And if your rack is down too far, make sure you remove it because you don't want it to top into the ghosts. 2 hours. 2 hours. Just let it go. Don't open the door. See you back. So our beautiful meringue ghosts are out of the oven. They've been at 225 for 2 hours. Then I shut off the oven, open the oven door just a little bit for about another hour. I just sort of forgot about them for an hour. That's fine. You can even leave them overnight like that. And they came out great, but they don't have any eyes or mouth. So we need to fix that. So I have a pastry bag and a very tiny tip. Again,